Hi, I'm Crystal,
And I'm Neoshia.
and you're listening to the Rom-Com Detectives. Welcome to Rom-Com Detectives, episode 41, This Dirtbag's All Mine. Today, Neosha and I will be talking about the 7th episode of Castle Season 1, Home is Where the Heart Stops. This episode, originally aired on April 20, 2009, was written by Will Beall and directed by Dean White. Okay, we're going to go to the case briefing. The victim in this one was Susan Delgado, and it was kind of a macabre scene.
Yeah.
And I didn't really even understand. I was a little alarmed by the murder scene in this one. The cause of death was gunshot, but she was stuffed into a safe, which
hmm
ew. The killer, we had to go by IMDb. His name was apparently Carl Nader, but I was just talking to Neosha earlier, and I don't think they actually named him in the episode. I could be wrong, but
Yeah, I mean, we were talking about this, and I'm sure we'll get to it, but it seems like the actual catching the killer part of this episode came abruptly
yeah.
because there's so much happening here.
But his motive was thievery, and I guess he was just a sadist, a violent guy. So, and then guest stars, there were so many. I didn't realize there's so many big name people in this one. There's Patrick Bauchow. He played Powell. He's from The Pretender and Carnival. There was Katarina. How do you say her last name?
Squarsone, I believe.
Okay. And she played the daughter Joanne, but she's from Grey's Anatomy. She was in the Grey's spin-off Private Practice too, so
Yeah, I think she plays Amelia Shepherd. She plays McDreamy's sister.
oh. Okay, so there's also Joseph C. Phillips. He played Bob the mayor. He's from 13 Reasons Why, The Cosby Show, and Criminal Minds. There's Katie Lowes, who played Rachel. She's from Scandal, Inventing Anna, and The Hunting Wives. There's Michael Papajohn, which I thought was an unamusing last name. I I was like, is that really his last name? But he played the killer, and he's also a stunt guy. But he's from Jurassic World, and oh my god, when I saw him, I was like, where do I know this guy from? And after I looked him up in IMDb, he's from Spider Man. He's the carjacker who kills Uncle Ben, and I was like, oh my god, that's right.
Terrible. Just terrible.
It's such a small role, but yeah, his face was still familiar to me somehow. And then there's okay, so the big one, at least to me, is Nick Chinlund. He played Evan Mitchell, and he's from The Mentalist. He's Patrick Jane's dad, and he's been on loads of crime shows, but he's also been probably the most recognizable one for me. I don't know about you, Neosha. Is he's from The X Files. He played Donnie Faster.
Yes, and I would like to thank you for making it such that I was today years old when I connected that it's the same actor who plays Alex Jane who plays Donnie Factor on the X-Files because I'm like, "Oh, that is him. Yes, that is him."
Yeah, well, yeah, because when I saw him in The Mentalist, I was like, "Oh, extra creepy," because he's Donnie Faster. Yeah, he's a memorable character from the X Files. I don't
What?
really remember him from the first episode he was on, but I remember him from Horizon. So,
Yeah.
all right, let's get to the episode breakdown. It starts with a white feather floating in an apartment. It lands in a pool of blood, and then the camera sweeps through a really gory scene. I mean, I feel like maybe the set people got a little carried away because I don't know. I mean, she's a socialite, right? And
Mhm.
they say that this guy is like escalating in violence and stuff like that, but it just seemed like a pretty extra scene.
Yeah, I mean, it's a lot because she's literally, like, folded up and stuffed into that safe,
Yeah, and
and,
like
like
Ryan is like, how many bones did they have to break to get her in there? And it's like, ugh.
yeah, I mean, like, 'cause I was wondering the same thing, like, that can't possibly be an actual actor in there. That's probably, like, some sort of, like
Like a mannequin, right?
yeah, or something, and then, like, the whole, like, visual of the hand just hanging out of
with
the yeah, with the f ring
with
finger
the finger
missing.
cut off. Ew.
Mhm.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it was bloodier than I think we've seen so far. And then it goes to Cass and Alexis. They're fencing while Martha plays the piano very dramatically, too, right?
Yeah, I mean, it's almost like she's playing for them, like
Yeah.
the music, right?
Yeah. That's the impression I got too. But then, so they're talking about the boy that she likes, and then he gets a call about the body. Then they go to the scene, and Ryan is there, and he's sneezing up a storm. So he used a pillow for
Yeah.
a poor man's silencer or something, right?
Mhm.
But so that made me Google, can a pillow really mask the sound of a gunshot? Google says no.
Well, I think that's just plot armor, like,
Yeah.
right? With because a lot of shows do it. It's like, "Oh, there's a pillow." In fact, I remember Bad Boys, the first Bad Boys movie, like, that's how they, like, do the killing in that well, like, one of the killings, like, one of the main killings, like, the guy just kinda picks up a pillow, like, he's sitting on his lap and pulls out a gun so that the girl can't see it, and then he shoots her.
I haven't seen that movie in so long.
And it's, like, a similar concept. Just seared in my brain. Some things are just seared in my brain, other things I can't remember.
That's how it is for everybody. But also, I want to mention that I saw a while back that there's no such thing as like the tradition, like how we all see silencers. We all recognize that silencer gunshot sound. It's like a pew,
Mhm.
right? That's like apparently not real. And like there are no like true like gun silencers like we see in the movie, and they're just called suppressors, and the gunshots are still loud. So
Mm,
gunshots are really, really loud, though.
they are, and yeah.
Castle makes a really terrible joke about how in this neighborhood you'd think she'd be safe. And I was like, oh, that's bad.
As she's stuffed in the safe. Good one, Castle. Good one.
Okay, but was that unintentional? Because I feel like he said it and then he was like, oh, wait.
Yeah, I don't think it's intentional, but still, like, it kinda just hits.
And so next we go to the station. Apparently, they've been investigating this crew for several months now, and they have it linked to three other cases. Two of them were simple, well, not simple, but they were just robberies. They weren't actually, is it? Yeah, it's robberies, right? Burglaries are where there's no people involved, right?
Burglaries.
Burg.
Burglaries, because Kate mentions that this is the first time that or sorry, second time, like, the last one last week was the first time it escalated to murder.
Uh huh. What? Wait. So, what is the difference between robbery and burglary?
I think a robbery, you have to, like, have some sort of, like, person there and, like, you're threatening them, whereas a burglary is just, like, you're just stealing stuff. Like, you break in and steal stuff, I think. I guess a home invasion could be either, just depending on if you're actually threatening a person,
Yeah.
whereas, like, a mugging is a robbery.
Yeah. But they haven't been able to figure out any commonalities between the cases. And I thought it was funny that on the murder board, they actually had a little like note that says escalating violence with an exclamation point. As if they needed a reminder for that.
Well, and then clearly we now know that murder boards aren't real
I
anyway,
know,
so
right? Yeah. So just to explain, like, Neoshia and I have been listening to the TV Police podcast, which is hosted by two Mentalist cast members, and they had a guest, one of their consultants from the one of their police consultants, and he says that murder boards aren't a thing in
yeah.
reality.
Yeah, like, I guess they're really not a thing, which I mean, I guess it kinda makes sense that you wouldn't put all your evidence on a board so anyone could see it, but still, I like the visual for the TV shows.
Yeah, yeah. No, but I totally it has come up in a couple things. Like I think most notably or most recently it happened in Ballard where they had their murder board up and there's some guy just walked in and I was like, "Wow, they have all their stuff there for this guy to see and he should not be seeing this stuff." And so I
Yeah,
was like, "Shouldn't they put their board away?" So I guess what he's trying to say is that they just simply use other means. They don't just have it on where anyone can just walk in and see, which makes sense.
right.
So they're still contemplating how they know that they have these items. And Castle speculates that maybe they just know they actually know them. But so they go, this leads them to go talk to the victim's daughter. And she asks about her mother's friends, but she doesn't really know. She doesn't know any of the names of the other victims. So that's kind of a dead end for them. And this kind of starts like a small little side plot between the victim's daughter and Kate, because at this point, I think all we know is that Beckett's mom was murdered, right? And she's
Mhm.
the case is still unsolved. But so she identifies with this Joanne lady because they've both lost their mothers to violent acts. But I like this. I like this little side plot between them. It was nice.
Yeah, and actually I like that the victim's daughter's name is Joanne.
Yeah, yeah, I noticed
Because
that too.
Beckett's mom is Joanna.
Yeah,
And I mean, obviously they're not bonding over that, but um, they are. I just like that that's the character name choice here for that.
yeah, I like that too.
And I really like too that, she's I think in many ways that Beckett is talking this young woman through what she's gone through in her experience
Mm-hmm.
because, yes, she does get upset, right? Like, well, why haven't you caught these people? Like they've been doing this and they're just getting away with it. And, at first why didn't the police do anything? And then she turns to sort of like the self-blaming or my mom wanted me to come over and I was too busy and now she's dead. And so she's, blaming herself. And, I really like that moment where she tells Beckett, I can't remember, she says like not to,
Don't press conference me.
yeah, like don't PR me, like don't give me the PR stuff. Like, cause I that's what I do for a living and I know what that means. And all of that. So I really liked their conversations throughout this episode.
Yeah, I like the honesty. Beckett seems to just really take that to heart, and yeah.
Yeah.
But I mean, she tells her that over the next couple days, she's gonna go every scenario in her head and find all kinds of ways to blame herself. It's a nice little personal touch. And Castle notices because he tells her later, like I really liked how you handled that. He doesn't think that Ryan Esposito could have done it like that as well as she did. But she knows that he's also kind of like fishing for
Mhm.
information about her mother, and she's not ready to talk about that. She calls herself the Beckett Onion.
Yeah, there's many layers to the Beckett onion.
I like that. We almost called this episode the Beckett Onion, but Dirtbag's All Mine ended up winning out.
Yeah, and I don't know, like I like the little conversation that they have
Hmm.
in terms of, Alexis and, what happens to Alexis if I die and because I mean it's got to be something that parents think about in
Yeah,
terms of
yeah,
like are your kids going to well, obviously, everyone hopes their kids make it, right? But, like, how
yeah.
do they make it without me? And so I kinda like that little conversation they were having.
And it was kind of funny because in the last episode we had just met Meredith, Alexis's mom, and so Beckett's like, "Well, she's got her mother," and he describes her as she's more like a crazy aunt with a credit card.
Yeah, he was like ba and it's sad. I can't remember exactly what he said, but it's like, "It's sad, but I am the more responsible one with my kids."
Oh, I also wanted to note that did you notice that the whistling castle tune is playing during this part of the scene? I like that.
Yes,
It's
yes.
it's very soft and it's slow. Not quite what they play during the credits, but it's there.
Yeah, I like the use of the whistling in this episode. I'm not really sure why they went with that,
Yeah.
here, but then
I don't
later on. It's a nice little touch, though.
Yeah, yeah. So I don't where did they go? They left basically. And so in the end it's just Montgomery and the two guys at the station. They start talking about he I guess Montgomery got a report and he starts talking about bump keys, and then that leads Esposito to think of some guy that he had arrested a few years ago named Evan Mitchell. This is the Donnie Faster
Mhm.
Alex Jane guy. He's apparently what Montgomery calls a legacy criminal because his whole family, going back to his grandfather, were known criminals too. But he was released 2 weeks before the first robbery. So they bring him in. And then, so there is this amusing scene where Ryan asks Castle, why do you writers always use the word perps for criminals? And Castle's like, well, what do you use? Because you can hear the writer in him like, oh, I need to be more authentic.
Right, like, he's
What
trying
is
to,
it?
like I did this to my students last week, actually. I was like, "So, how do you read this?" Trying to get them, to prompt me, like, how it would make more sense to them. But, yeah, no, I like that 'cause you can tell he's in writer mode, like, he's trying to get that, like, insider scoop.
No, but no, okay, so were they trolling him? Because they started going through all these different words that they say they use instead of perps, like pipehead, pisshead. They used orc.
He's an
Ryan
orc.
said Ryan said Skeksis, and I was like, what? Starting to get all fantasy in here. And then Beckett just interrupts and says, suspects. We use suspects. And Montgomery Montgomery says, I just go with Dirtbag. Ah, it was amusing. I like that scene. But so they go in to question Mitchell, and since he's a legacy criminal, he knows that he should not talk without a lawyer. And he's giving Beckett a lot of sass in this interrogation, right?
Hmm.
He immediately pegs Castle as not a cop, and he mocks her for not being able to hack it on her own. So she seems to lose her temper and pushes the table against him and gets in his face. But do you think that was an act? Like she wasn't actually flustered, or do you think she actually was mad?
Yeah, I don't think she was actually mad because that's not like the first time we've seen her kind of put under that pressure, and she
Yeah.
doesn't really break like that.
I feel like yeah,
Um,
it didn't seem like something she would go for, right?
yeah, and also too, she knows that she's talking to this guy with a long, as Montgomery calls him, he's a legacy. So he knows how to push the buttons.
Yeah. I thought it was funny that he mentions that at the time of the murder he was drinking with some Westies pals. is this is this the first mention of the Westies? Because the Westies becomes like a frequent thing later seasons, right?
Yeah, and I think at some point Ryan goes undercover as a
Yeah,
Westie.
yeah, because
Yeah,
they're an Irish gang, right?
yeah.
I thought it was funny because I would never have remembered that it gets mentioned in the first season.
Yeah, no, no, and I mean, yeah, it seems like it's like the big gang of their precinct, right?
So Montgomery tells Beckett that they don't actually have any real cause to hold the guy because he actually has a rock solid alibi. I forget what it was. He was like at some was it some legal proceeding or something? I don't remember. But basically it wasn't anything that she could contest. So basically they do need to let him go. But Becca's really frustrated, so she goes to the firing range and Castle goes and he starts like teasing her about like how she's only doing good because the target is not moving. So she gets him to try it out, and then he wants to take home the photos of the stolen items. And so she's like, well, if you get the next three shots in the 10, or actually, she said any of the next three shots in the 10
Mhm.
ring, then he can have the photos. And then he hustles her,
Yeah, no, clearly this whole thing was a setup, right? Like he comes in, immediately starts like the hustle with the.
covering his ears, like, oh, that's so loud.
Yeah, and like talking about how, oh, it's harder if they're just standing still, and kind of escalates it up to like this end part, right? Where
Yeah,
he
because
gets her to make
because
the
he,
bet.
he's like trying to fire the gun with only one hand, and so he like fully sells this whole "I'm a gun noob" thing.
Yeah.
Okay, so Castle takes the photos home because Beckett said that she would let him if he got it because he immediately fires three right into the center. I love that she immediately knows that she got played because she looks pissed.
Mhm.
But so Alexis comes by. He asks how her date went. Castle starts talking about installing a panic room. Which,
Which is kind of funny because I think this is around the time that
that panic
that
room came
movie.
out.
Yeah,
The Jodie
yeah,
Foster one.
yeah. Because there's that one, and then I think there's another one with like Julianne Moore in it that's very similar.
Julianne Moore.
Yeah, because there's like another. It's not the Panic Room movie with Jodie Foster, but there's another movie that Julianne Moore did not too long after this that I think has a
Uh,
similar theme.
actually, the Jodie Foster one wasn't her daughter played by Kristen Stewart.
Yes.
That's funny. I had never heard of a panic room before that movie. I'm sure it was like that for a lot of people too.
Yeah, I mean, the idea, well, because then, like in the 50s or whatever, and they were building all those bunkers because they were afraid of like
Mm,
nuclear war. That's probably where the idea originates from. But I also imagine, like, for the average person, even that still sounds ridiculous, right? Like, I'm going
yeah.
to build this safe room in
Whole
the middle
extra
of my
room.
house. Yeah. Who has room for an extra room?
I know. It's a rich people thing, right?
Yeah, exactly. When your first layer of security fails, and your second layer, because your guards are not there, and then your system doesn't work, and then now you gotta go in the pan okay. Okay. I'm with Martha on this one.
My income level means I'm gonna go hide in the bathroom.
My income level is such that, like, "You got me."
Oh shucks, I'm dead.
Just take what you need. Hopefully, you're not here to kill
I
me.
do not have a safe that you can stuff me in though, thankfully.
Right. Some of us can't be stuffed into a safe.
Uh, yeah, that lady must have either that safe was really big or it
It was
didn't look
super
that
tiny.
big. Yeah,
Yeah.
she must have been a very petite lady. But so Martha mentions someone named Powell because Castle's talking about that to sell these items, he would need to know a high level fence. And so Martha mentions a guy named Powell who apparently has a grudge against Castle. And Alexis is just like, who's Powell? And they keep talking like she's not there, like she's not asking. But then finally Martha tells her, oh, well, he was a thief and Castle stole his, like, I guess he like ripped from this guy for an entire character and then he named him in the acknowledgments.
Yeah. No, and like that's such a I'm sorry, but that's such a rookie move. Like, I'm gonna anonymize all this, but thank you so much for this for you, pal, for telling me exactly how you burglarized all these places. Good going.
So okay, I was so confused by this because he leaves, he goes to Powell's. He's not concerned that the guy's gonna want to kill him, and he somehow just gets into his apartment. Like he doesn't even seem to break in. He just takes an elevator and he walks into his loft. Is it just unlocked?
Yeah, I always wonder about those setups. Like, I've never seen one of those in real life, and I don't know if it's like a real life thing, but like how like you have to have some code or a key or something to get into
Yeah, to
someone's
get
loft like
in,
that, right?
right? You would
Maybe
think
he had a key? I don't know.
he
Just
didn't
shows
change.
goes right on up.
And there's like jewels and stuff on the table and all kinds of stuff. So I don't know.
Yeah, just all out in the open, right?
Kai Powell's all over the place. But as he's looking at newspaper clippings on the wall, he turns around and he gets punched in the face. But when it cuts back from commercial, we learn that Powell just wanted to punch him and that was enough. He says he was about to retire anyway, and when he shows him the photos of the jewelry, he says that he hasn't heard of anyone fencing those items, but that's the kind of jewelry that you only take out for special occasions. And he wants to see the crime scene. So
Yeah, which is kind of weird, but okay.
yeah. I wanted to note that I did not know what the term fencing until I started watching these rom-com cop shows. I think the first one I saw it in was Lucifer, and I was just like, what the heck is a fence?
I've never thought about that, but like I mean that's probably right cuz like I think I probably learned that word from like Law and Order.
Uh, yeah, but see, I don't understand because I used to watch Law and Order, and so I was just like, surely they use that word. Maybe it just went straight over my head because I just don't think I would have. I don't. Maybe I just wasn't paying attention, and the word fence is just so like common that I didn't really put it together with what they're using it as. I don't know.
Yeah, and like I kind of wonder where the word comes from because like it's not something that is like intuitive in terms of, I basically stole these goods and now I need somewhere to offload them.
I gotta look. Okay, so Wikipedia on the fence parentheses criminal page says,
I'm looking at it too.
as is the case with the word fence and its derivatives, when used in its other common meanings, such as a type of barrier or enclosure, the word in this context is derived from the word defense. Among criminals, the fence originated in thieves' slang, tracing to the notion from the notion of such transactions providing a defense against being caught. So I
Well,
guess it's
also
like a middleman to kind of distance themselves from their crime.
well, also too, I mean like the idea that you're going to steal these goods. I mean, if it's not something you can immediately use, why else do you steal it besides selling it to get money?
Yeah, yeah.
But I also think it's interesting that it looks like part of the history here is Oliver Twist.
Oh, really?
Yeah, do you see that on the I didn't read down far enough. I won't say that it came from there because it doesn't look like it came from there, but it does look like maybe that's how it got sort of immortalized, if you will, in our
Uh,
pop culture
that's
because
funny.
yeah, it's It's an Oliver Twist. Maul Flanders also, I guess, uses that. That's interesting. Huh.
It's a funny little rabbit hole.
Yeah, now I need to go and look at
I know.
the sort
I'm
of
gonna have to
history
look
of
up.
crime and literature. That's your next podcast, Crystal.
Yeah.
Crime and literature.
Okay, so Paul wants to go see the crime scene. And so I wasn't actually expecting Castle to do this, but he takes her to Susan's apartment and no problem getting in because he's with a thief. the
Right,
guy
he's with someone who can break in pretty easy.
the guy breaks in and they're looking around and I thought it was weird that Paul was just like, you didn't tell me that they stuffed her in the safe. And it's like I was I found it interesting that he could tell that just from a little bit of blood dripping down. Like, because he's like, why didn't you tell me that she was stuffed in the safe?
I mean, the
But
scene was pretty gnarly, but yeah, it's a big leap.
yeah. Anyway, he says that it was unnecessary and it's brutality for brutality's sake, and he kind of expresses distaste for criminals who would do work like that. And so this is like the first of a mention like this, because there's later one from Evan Mitchell. But basically, they're commenting that this guy doesn't need to go this far, but he's doing it anyways. So
Yeah, it's kinda like an honor among thieves type thing, right? Because it's
yeah.
like, you could speaking of our mutual friend Karen, who loves the Thomas Crown Affair as much as I do, if you think about, like, the Thomas Crown Affair type burglary, or even more recent events, the burglary at the Louvre,
Mm,
there are ways in which you can go in and steal what it is you want, right? Because property crime doesn't have to be violent, right? And so to me, I think this pal guy is kind of more into the artistry of, the theft, the artistry of being able to break in and get out without being seen. Or, I mean, like any of the Oceans movies, right? Like that's a big part of it, is getting in and getting out without being seen. And how do you do it in such a way that it tricks everyone around you because you're there, but you're not there, and take what you need or want rather, and fence it, versus like this person, from what I could tell, they probably made her open that safe and then just butchered her. Like, I mean, shot her with a gun, and then they cut her ring finger off, which is dripping blood. And so maybe she was or wasn't already dead when they did that, like completely dead or just recently dead.
yeah.
There's just so much that, like, they didn't have to do that. And it's so far beyond just, a property crime, or what someone like Pal might see as the artistry of it.
So while they're talking, they hear someone at the door. Castle turns around and Paul's gone. First sign of trouble, and he's just like poof. But it's Beckett, and she points her gun at him, and she's just like, "What are you doing here?" Because apparently she was just there to like revisit the crime scene, see if she noticed she missed anything. But she's pissed at him because he tells her that he took the thief to the crime scene. But he insists that it was helpful, and so she sits down and she's like, "Well, what'd you learn?" Because I don't know. I like this about Beckett, where it's like he's so irritating. He does all these stupid things, but can you please just give me what you learned anyway? You might as well, right?
Yeah, and I mean, because part of it is, I think, she's a cop trained in doing things the cop way, and that's how things are done, right? And Castle often pushes those boundaries, right? Because he's just like, oh, I know so and so, I can make this happen. So not only is he pushing the boundaries, but I also think there's like a bit of concern for his safety, right?
Yeah.
Because at the end of the day, she's kind of responsible for him. And I mean, obviously, there's a little thing that's brewing between them, but she's responsible for making sure that he's not getting killed at a crime scene, for example, right? So I get her
Even
frustration with
even though
him.
he signed all the waivers and everything.
Well, yeah, I mean, yeah. Even though he signed all the waivers that he might die, because he doesn't care. But he does care, but he doesn't care because he's Castle and he's going to go do what he wants. But yeah, I think she doesn't want him to, one, get hurt, two, make the job more complicated, and three, get off the path of a police officer too much, if you know what I
Yeah.
mean.
Yeah. He wants to know if Mitchell is still in custody, and she's like, she admits yes, because she's holding him out of spite, which I love because Montgomery had told her that they had to let him go. But I guess she's like, slow rolling her paperwork to like keep him there
Yeah.
because he was sassing her so much.
I guess she's saying like, "Hey, I have 24 hours to hold him, so it's not been 24 hours."
So he wants to go question Mitchell alone. And I love this scene because it's so classic Castle. How because like we've talked a little bit how they give him like easy things to like make him look a little bit better in comparison to the police. But in this one, this is like the writer part of him and the charm part of him.
Mhm.
And I feel like this was a really good use of Castle and his niche skill set, you know. So he goes and he talks to Mitchell. He's like, I'm a writer. And it turns out that the guy Mitchell has read his Derek Storm books.
Yeah, he's like, "Derek Storm, I like him."
Why'd you kill him?
Yeah. No, I like that scene, but I was also I don't know, maybe this is me being a little elitist or whatever, but I was just like, "You're telling me this guy is like a hardened criminal and he's just like popping in and out to like read Derek Storm books?" But however, I guess if he's been incarcerated, it's a good
Well,
way to
I
use
mean,
the time.
yeah, he just spent 5 years in prison, right? Or something.
Yeah.
It amuses me to think of Derek Storm novels being in the prison library. But yeah, he draws him in. He's like, I'm writing a new book and I really want to get the details right. And the guy Mitchell's like, oh my God, they never get the details right. I have a mortgage and all.
Yeah, like he's like, "I am a member of society, sir."
But he tells him that he is writing a new book with a home invasion crew just like the one that they're chasing. He's got a character just like Mitchell in it who stumbles upon them. And Mitchell says that he would never run into them because he's not robbing homes and these thieves are too dark for him. And then Mitchell finally admits that he met the crew's leader a few months ago when he first got out because the guy was forming his crew and he wanted one of his bump keys because this is what they established this earlier that this is what the guy Evan Mitchell is known for, his bump keys. But he did give him one, but it was only to get rid of him. And then he tells Castle that the guy liked to play with his food before he ate it. So that's the second mention of how this guy is going a little bit too far when he doesn't need to, or not a little, way too far.
Yeah. Well, I mean, like, it's kinda like, maybe this guy just again, back to sort of the artistry or because I think that's the difference between someone like Powell, who you were seeing almost in this Ocean's Thomas Crown Affair type setup as a burglar. Like, he's a high class burglar, right? Versus someone like Mitchell, who's supposed to be like your Westy, low end, low class burglar. And I think the connection between the 2 is that neither one are killers. Whereas whoever's doing this person is a killer first and foremost. They are just
Hmm.
also there for stuff, right? And so I think that, they do a good job of sort of, you know, honor among thieves. There's burglary, there's, this idea, but then there's the murder.
So I was a little amused by this transition because Castle goes in for the kill. He's like, okay, for authenticity, how would you describe him? And then the next thing we know, there's a sketch of the guy. kind of,
Yeah.
do you think they were trying to imply that Castle drew that? Because
No, I don't think they're implying that Castle drew it, but I am thinking they're implying that Castle got it out of him.
uh huh. So do you
Yeah.
think that they called somebody in and he like got him willing to like talk to the sketch artist or what?
Yeah, because I mean, think about it. Like Mitchell is so
Eager.
um eager to like talk to Castle, right? But he knows better than to talk to the cops
Yeah,
without
yeah.
his attorney. And so he starts talking to Castle. And so like that's sort of the implication I get is that he told Castle like who this guy was and Castle's like, "Can you draw him for me then?" Or like, "What does he look like?" And that's how they got it.
Evan Mitchell is a very talented artist.
Oh yeah, or that too.
He learned it in prison. So they hand the sketch to Joanne, but she still doesn't recognize the guy. And then Castle asks her if her mom wore jewelry often. She says she only wore it to special events. So that finally gets them realizing that, oh, maybe the commonality they need to find is in charity events. So they start putting on a whiteboard like all the different charities that the victims went to, and they finally find a commonality in like a dance theater. So
Yeah.
Beckett and Castle go to talk to this lady Anne Green, and this is like one of a couple of where the people call him Ricky, right?
Yeah. Ricky. I like that actress, which, I guess I should have said early on when we were still talking about the
No, I
guest cast.
guess yeah. I don't know why I skipped over her. Yeah. But yeah, so they sit down and Beckett wants their donor list, but the lady Anne's like, no, sorry, you can't have our private donor information. They spar a bit, and then Anne tells Beckett, nope, sorry, you need a court order. So next we go to Beckett. She's all irritated because she's typing out her application or whatever to get the court order. But Castle insists that no one's gonna sign it because there are a lot of judges on the public donor list, so they're not gonna approve of that. So he surprises her with 2 tickets to the charity event that the lady Anne Green was in the middle of planning. Right, that's what
Yeah.
they went to. Right, that was for the dance theater.
Yeah, the American Dance Theater.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. So at first, she doesn't want to do it. She doesn't want to go to the event, but he insists that it's the perfect opportunity because everybody's going to be with their jewelry, and then anyone who's there scoping them out is going to be too. So, and then before he leaves, he says it's a black tie event and asks if it's going to be a problem. She's like, no, but
I don't think he's convinced by that, first off.
well, he knows her a little. He knows her by now, right? So
Yeah, and I mean, I don't know. Is it really common for, like, average women to just have black tie gowns in their closets like that? Because, like, I don't. Like,
I
even if I'm
don't.
invited to go somewhere, I'm usually, like, annoyed because it means I'm probably gonna have to go find something to wear,
Yeah,
because you don't usually keep stuff like that around. And then also too, you kinda have to be a unicorn who never shifts sizes in any direction because those dresses are
yeah,
so,
yeah.
fit to your they're just very fitted. I don't wanna go, like, too crazy, but I did wanna point something out before we moved on too far. I found it interesting that they didn't pick up on this line when Pal made that comment about, "These are the type of jewels you only get out for a special occasion."
Yeah.
But it's when Mitchell or excuse me, when Joanne says, she only wore that stuff to special events,
Mm-hmm.
that they kind of clock that because you kinda have an insider voice telling you, like, this is the this is the fancy stuff that they're after.
Yeah. I guess
But
it's because Powell was only with Castle, and so
mm,
it took Beckett to hear it to be like, "Oh, let's go with that." And maybe
which kinda
Castle
makes
didn't
sense as
pick up
well.
on it earlier. Yeah. So next we go to her apartment, and Lainey is helping Kate go through her closet, and she's like giving her the veto on everything, and which fair because a lot of her dresses she was holding up were pretty terrible.
Even by 2009 standards, oh my goodness, like, hideous. Like, what was all the, like, hot pink sequiny stuff?
Or
Kate.
the royal blue dress. Oh my god.
Oh, Kate, Kate,
And
Kate.
at one point, like Lainey says, "I better not see you wearing your prom dress when I come back because the door rang," and she went to go get it. But like, do you think she meant that literally? Like, do you think Kate had her prom dress in her closet still?
No, but I think Lainey was just, like, teasing her,
She's
like, "These are
just
all
teasing
terrible
her.
choices."
Okay.
Yeah. Like, honestly, she shoulda went straight from work to, like, Macy's. That would've been my move. That'd been my
hmm
move, but because the Macy's, the one, the Christmas one, that place is 9 floors. They got everything.
uh.
They got everything. Why wouldn't you just go there and get a dress? I don't know.
Also, what was Beckett wearing? At first, I thought it was a towel, but then it kind of looked like a muslin kind of material.
I
And
think
it,
it's like one of those, like, terry cloth robe things that you can tie around yourself, like a dressing gown type
okay.
deal.
Yeah. I thought that was weird. Like, why would they dress her in that for this scene? Thought it was amusing.
Yeah, I don't know, because it kinda almost gives the impression like she just got out of the shower, but then,
Yeah,
like,
yeah. But her hair's not wet. It's
no.
just, I don't know. Yeah. At his apartment, Castle's getting ready and Alexis is helping him. Martha's pouting because he won't tell her where the event is. And she asks why. He says, because you'll show up.
Poor Martha. She
I
just wants to
know.
know where he's going. Like, "Hey, son, where are you going tonight?"
So back at Beckett's, Lainey brings in a box that was just delivered, and she's complaining about it because she knows it's from Castle. But then they open the box and they both gasp. And then next we have Beckett arriving at Castle's apartment, and Martha and Alexis both compliment her. But I did not like her hair in this.
Yeah, they were going for like pin curls, and her hair is really short, and it doesn't really, I don't know.
It was kind of like old style flapper kind of thing, I guess. That's the kind of vibe I got from it. I was just not really a fan of it. I thought she
Yeah. I mean, it
yeah.
kind of matches the detail that's on the bust of the dress that
Yeah.
she's wearing, right? That's kind of given 1920s a little bit, but yeah, I didn't love her hair, but like I also was just curious like how do you feel about this sort of like theme of like men sending women a dress? Like they're inviting you somewhere and they're like, "Here's a dress for you to wear tonight." Like because on one hand, I'm like, what are the chances that he knows her exact
Exact
measurements?
measurements, yeah.
Because, like, these dresses are so fit it's not like there's any give in them, right? And you gotta get it right. And sometimes you even have to get them taken in or taken out in places. But, like, what are the chances that he knows her exact measurements, the cut,
And
the
and
color?
how it looks on her too, because you can like
Mhm.
really like a dress in person and then you try it on and it's just it's not working.
Yeah, because like, what is holding this dress together or what brings this dress together, what really has to work, has to be the, like, push-up aspect, right? Like the bra. Like, if you gotta
Uh-huh.
get the top part right. You gotta get that sweetheart cut deal without the straps. You have to get that right. And so, yeah. But then on the other hand, I'm like, I kinda dig this romantic motif because it's like, yeah, I know your measurements and,
Yeah, yeah.
like, yeah, I think you'd look hot in this. And it's like, I don't know, there's some fantasy element to it. But I was
Yeah,
just
I
curious,
think
like,
so
do you have thoughts
too.
on that?
No, yeah, because I think it's difficult for people like us living in the modern era because we're like, "Oh, I kinda like that." But then part of you is like, "Wait, am I supposed to not like that?" Because it's like, I don't know, it's kinda old school, like old fashioned for
Mhm.
it's kind of like the whole like the similar thing is like when you go to a restaurant and the man orders for you, right?
Mhm.
Like I think for that one, I would have been like, I want to order my own food. You know, how do you know? Why do you get to choose what I'm eating
Yeah,
here?
how do you know what I want to eat, sir? And don't you dare say a salad. I will end this right now.
But yeah, I don't know. I feel like I think for me, my reaction would be based completely on the result. Because if I put it on and I look really good and it fits, I would be like, wow, that's really cool of you. But if it didn't and I look terrible in it, then it would just be like, no, what the hell were you thinking?
Yeah,
Right?
because I mean, that's the other aspect of it, right? Like, what if he just gets it totally wrong and it's the wrong
Yeah. Yeah.
shade?
Yeah.
Mm. And then you feel compelled to wear it because he bought it.
Yeah. So I guess my answer is it depends.
Fair enough.
Although I mean I just it now that you bring that up, it just does kind of seem like a myth, like something that they just put into to movies and TV shows where this guy is so good that he
Yeah.
just
Yeah, I
knows.
mean, it's like that iconic scene from The Mentalist in season 6
Yeah.
where, there's a dress given to a character
Uh-huh.
and then she walks down
Uh-huh.
just looking like so good in it, and you're just like, "How the hell did he get that right? Like, how did he know? Like, what is going on?"
It's Patrick Jane. So Martha goes and brings back a stunning necklace for Beckett to wear, and I have to say that it really completed the look because her neck
Mhm,
did look pretty bare because it's kind of a
mhm.
low cut dress. So yeah, when she puts it on her, if yeah, I feel like that really added a lot to it.
And I like that moment too with
Yeah,
Martha, like,
yeah.
like, letting her borrow her necklace.
And also she's paying for information here. It's so cute the way that they set this up because she's like, "Where are you going?" And Castle's like frantically waving at her, like, "No, no,
"No,
no, no, no."
don't tell her.
But
Don't tell her."
and it's so funny because it's so Martha that she like is you can tell she's genuinely being nice because she feels like Kate is missing something from her look, but also she wants to get this information out of her. So because
Right, like,
she's
"Hey,
like
we're girls. We're just having girl talk. Just let me know."
Oh, it's so cute. I love how well they seem to know Martha's character because they just nail her every time. It's great. So next we go to the event. Ryan and Esposito are standing on the red carpet watching, and they see Beckett and Castle arrive, and they like walk the red carpet and everything. Castle is greeted very enthusiastically by the mayor, who he's on a close enough to that he calls him Bob, and the
Mhm.
mayor also calls him Ricky. Bob tells Castle Beckett is even prettier than he described, and she can't believe that he's like talking to the mayor about her. But he explains that they play cards together, and he goes off to get them drinks. And while he's there, he meets this lady, Rachel, who I guess got him the tickets, plus her
Mhm.
boyfriend, who is a fan of Castle. But while he's talking to these two people, some lady, I don't know, what is she, a socialite?
Yeah, I think so.
She approaches Beckett and she like starts talking about how everybody has been trying to land Castle. They call him the White Whale.
Yeah, that was pretty funny to me because, like, yeah, it's actually in one of my quotes. I'll keep it for later because it's one of the quotes I identified here.
Rachel mentions that there's an event coming up, and she tells Castle, "Oh, you and Alexis can come." And he's actually kind of alarmed that she knows that he has a daughter and what her name is and everything. And she says that they make a point to get to know all their potential donors. So this catches his attention because they're literally looking for people who scope out people and their jewelry, right? So he goes and he grabs Beckett on the dance floor. He tells her about Rachel. She doesn't seem that concerned, and he's trying to explain to her, but then he spots Powell coming in with the lady Anne from earlier. And this convinces him that Powell has been playing him all along and he's the actual thief, not just like some consultant thief.
Oh, castle, castle, castle.
But he just like no subtlety. He just runs right up to him. He's just accusing him right there at the event.
Yeah. Didn't even think, I mean, he didn't even take time to think, right? Like, he's just like,
Yeah.
it must be you.
Powell scoffs and reveals that he's actually there for another reason, and it's that he has actually wait. So what did Powell do? He brought Martha in, or he like arranged with Anne so that they could auction off something for Castle. It was the
Yeah,
auction, right, of the date.
yeah, I think that he was in cahoots with Anne to auction off this date, and they used Martha to do it.
I just thought it was funny that she comes in and she's actually literally the auctioneer.
Yeah.
uh, but people are bidding like I think the first bid was like 2,500. So people are
Mhm.
willing to bid on the white whale. And Castle tries to beg Beckett to bid and he says he'll pay her back. But she's enjoying it too much. But that's when he spots the boyfriend, Rachel's boyfriend, taking photos of people.
Mhm.
How do you think they figured out who he was? Because they go outside to talk to Ryan and Esposito and they know his name and they've run him and figured out he has another alias and that one has a record. So, was it because Castle got introduced to him so they knew his name? Or he must have
Yeah,
been on the guest list, right?
I'm not really sure about that because, like, maybe it's one of those situations where they run his name and they find other aliases, or yeah, I don't know exactly how they identified him.
Seemed to happen pretty fast. It sped up
Yeah.
for brevity.
Again, that's my critique of the episode. Like, everything to do with the murder kind of happened super quick. You just kind of jumped right to it, but then there's all this other stuff that's just happening in between.
So they arrest the guy Paul and take him back to the station. And Castle looks at Becky and he's like, Where'd the dress go?" She's like, "You didn't think I was going to interrogate him in it, did you?" And I thought it was interesting that Castle said, "We were kind of hoping you would." And like they like looked to Esposito and he's just kind of like expectant. Like, yeah, I was hoping.
Yeah.
I don't know. I got a little bit of sexist vibes from that, and I wasn't a big fan of the way that they brought Espo into that.
Yeah, I mean, like, I don't know. I didn't take it that way. It's just more so the way I took it. And I mean, sexist. I'm not saying sexist is wrong here because it probably is still sexist. But it was more so like the hee hee ha ha that they would get out of, watching Beckett in this like black tie gown interrogate this guy. But you're right. Like, we wouldn't make a big deal out of someone. like a man who's interviewing or interrogating someone in a tux, right? It's just because she looks all made up and she's like a princess and whatever. So yeah, I mean, sexism's right, but that's how I took it.
So she shows Paul the sketch that they got earlier from Evan Mitchell, and he actually knows who he is. And so he says that they met in prison when he got out of his own uh, what is it called? A stint in prison. But apparently, this guy was the guy protecting him in prison. And when he got out, he found Paul, and he said, "You owe me because I protected you in prison." And he threatens the girl Rachel, and so he gets him to feed him all these leads on the jewelry at these events. So they arrive at the guy's apartment, and Beckett once again asks Castle to stay in the car. And I don't know. Did you feel it was necessary for him to say, "What if I have to pee?" And she gives him the coffee cup? It was a little over the top for me.
Yeah, I mean, I thought that was classic Castle childlike shenanigans though, because he's coming up with like like a question, right? Like it's a reason. Like, what if I have to not follow what you say?
Yeah, he's looking for a technicality.
Yeah, how do I get around that?
But so the three of them go bust into an apartment. They find photos and plans, but no suspect. And then in the car, Castle, being the giant adult child he is, he hops into the driver's seat and starts playing with the radio, doing like the little kid, the little boy thing where
Like fake driving and everything, man.
it's endearing though. I thought it was cute. Upstairs, the suspect arrives. I guess he went to go get groceries or something, but he gets away from them outside. And then Castle is still. What would you call what he was doing? I put humming, but I don't know if that's exactly humming. He was like.
Yeah, I mean, he's humming the Batman theme. Pa-na-na-na-na, pa-na-na-na-na.
So the suspect fell onto the hood of the car. Like, how did that happen? Like, the last we saw, he was running out of a gate. So, how did he end up just crashing onto the hood? I was confused by that.
Yeah, again, no idea, but um, like I love that scene because
The
Castle's just like,
wipers.
yeah, he's just like, oh,
Yeah,
I don't know what to do, wipers,
the guy's picture is right on the dashboard, right?
and he's looking at it like,
Oh, that's
yeah, very
him.
dramatically,
And then he turns on the wipers. And I thought it was hilarious that they actually added like a sound too. When it
yeah.
hits the guy in the face, it's like a psh.
Like I really did like that scene because I'm just like, that is such a Castle thing. Like he didn't know what to do, but turning on the windshield wipers sounded like the move.
It's pretty amusing. And then I like that he's like pretending like, no, I'm not supposed to get out of the car. He's still like the little boy.
Yeah. But hey, at
Yeah.
least he was following what Beckett told him to do this time.
Yeah, yeah. But it was just cute the way he was saying it. Like, Mom told me to stay right here.
Not get out of the car.
But he actually hits the guy with the car door, and then they're scuffling on the ground, and the gun falls. And then finally Beckett arrives and she saves him. Castle's like, he punched me in the face. And this whole time that they're rolling all over the ground, you can see that Castle's still wearing his tux.
Yeah.
uh,
No, I like that moment because again, that is just the windshield wiper thing is great. And then, Castle making the choice to tussle with him. Which I mean, I get it because like on one hand you're like there's a part of me that's like, why would Castle do that? He's not really trained, but then also this guy we know is probably a crazy murderer. Um,
uh-huh.
he's killing people just for sport. And so like, yeah, why wouldn't you try to like not, let him just sit there and like take you hostage and die? So I like that he's got the spirit. He's got the spirit.
Yeah,
He hits him with the
yeah,
car door, tackles him. They're tussling. And then Beckett just shows up to step on his wrist, which I loved the shot of that.
yeah. And what was her line that he liked? He told her he liked her
I think it
line.
was like,
I need the
"Go for
practice.
it." Yeah, "Go for it, I need the practice, because he's trying to get the gun.
So after they arrest him, there's like they don't have a scene. They have like a transition scene, and they have Castle humming the tune again, and Beckett tells him Castle, and she cuts him off. But I thought it was I liked that, but I was just a little confused as to why they did voiceover instead here because they don't show them and we don't get the context of what they're doing. Like, are they still at the scene or are they leaving the scene? Or
No
it
idea.
kind of felt like they didn't know what to put it in, and so they just stuck it there because maybe maybe they just liked it
Yeah.
so much.
I mean, overall, this episode really does just kind of feel like hanging out with Castle and Beckett. And so I think a lot of the stuff, I'm sorry, I feel like a broken record, but I feel like so much of anything related to the actual crime, like even how the guy got on the car, is just not in the cut. And I don't know if this is stuff that was maybe in the original script
Mm,
or, was cut for time
yeah.
or, what, but like, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, this episode was a little bit short. I think when I started it, it was like 40 minutes. And usually you see like 40, 43, 44. So it was on the shorter side.
Yeah. Maybe there were things cut that they had to cut
Yeah.
out and I don't know.
Yeah. Who knows? The next scene is at the victim's apartment. Beckett is giving Joanne a locket with the photo of her and her mom in it. And Joanne asks her how is she supposed to get over it? And Becky tells her that she can't, but it will eventually get better. And I really like this scene. So they had kind of brought Joanne like beginning, middle, and end. So they established her well, I thought, for someone who has had such a small role to play. But
Yeah. And I mean, I think in the end, I think one way to see this episode is that it's really about Joanne and
mm-hmm,
about, the loss of because there's this idea about death that like obviously, the victim here, she died horribly. And I don't think that's something that you can forget or like just kind of ignore, but truly someone else's death is rarely about them. It's always about the people who are left behind. And so, like, Beckett is one of those who's left behind, like a child
mm-hmm.
who's left behind after her mother's death. And then Joanne sharing that similar fate with her. I mean, I think that's an important part of this episode, too, more so than like the actual crime solving of it.
Yeah, and I like the connection that she builds with Joanne because at the end she gives her her card and her number and tells her if you ever need to talk, you can call me.
Hmm.
So the final scene, Beckett arrives back at Castle's. I think it's the same morning. It's the morning after the event. She came to return the necklace that Martha loaned her, but they insist that she sit down for breakfast, and Castle has a black eye.
Yep.
He's got a shiner. But I love this scene because it's that's something that I really like about Castle is they usually close out with a really good feel good moment, and this was a
Hmm.
really warm scene. It gives you like a kind of like a picture perfect kind of family kind of, like this is like a new family unit being formed. Yeah, so
Yeah. I mean, even I think that even goes to like Martha letting Kate borrow that necklace. Like, hey, I have
mhm,
something for you to wear. Because again, we're talking about, losing moms and whatnot. Like,
yeah.
Becca doesn't have her mom to say, hey, you can borrow this really nice necklace that I have because it would go with your dress.
Yeah, I mean, and if you even go back to the scene with Lainey, like she doesn't have a friend to have her help her with that. She has to call like her coworker because
Yeah.
that's the closest she has to a friend. So yeah.
Which, I mean, that's sort of a critique, I think, of a lot of the rom-com shows. And I get it from a strategic writing slash budgetary perspective of the shows, right? Is that like they tend to go with like the two women in this office are best friends. And
Hmm.
like and so for Beckett, Lainey is kind of, I think, positioned as her best friend, but it's like she's her best work friend, maybe.
Yeah. Yeah.
But like, is that truly, Beckett
Is that
who's
really
grown
the
up?
best she can do, right?
Right. And I mean, like, Lainey's great, don't get me wrong. But it's like Beckett's grown up in the city and,
Yeah.
she's at home and she doesn't have any other girlfriends that she can call on to like come and help her. Again, I get show reasons, right? It's probably more so budget and we use, people this way, but I pick up on that so often because
Yeah. I
it's
mean, you think about Olivia Dunham, same thing,
yeah.
right? No friends. She's so dedicated to her work. Chloe Decker has no friends either, except maybe Ella when she comes into the picture. Lisbon, no life, no friends that
Yeah.
we know of.
Or like even how like Van Pelt when she gets married or is about to get married like, ask Lisbon to be a bridesmaid?
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
would you ask your boss to be a bridesmaid? Like, I'd ask her to the wedding for sure, but, like,
Yeah.
being a bridesmaid, like, to me, that's just it's you're saying, like, you're someone that's so important in my life, and, I need you to be there to witness this moment in an official capacity.
But also at the same time, it says, "I have no one else." Right?
Yeah, it kinda does. I mean, we know she had other bridesmaids that would've been at the wedding because Lisbon's only one, right? I hope.
I don't
Or she had other
know.
yeah, anyway, that's a different show, but, like, yeah, no, I always think about that because, yeah, I don't know how realistic that is, and also I think it goes back to tying women into what has been traditionally a male-dominated field, because what if they have too many girlfriends and it's, like, too unrealistic? Like, the only show I think, and I would love correction on this if other people have other thoughts, the only show I think they've ever done this is, NCIS Los Angeles, when there's a wedding in that show, and actually long seasons before there's a wedding in that show, they introduce you off screen to, this female character's, like, girl group friends, like, so all these friends that she has, and none of them are supposed to know that she's a federal agent and what she does, so they don't know what she does for work. So these are, like, friends.
Mhm.
And then, like, at her wedding, these are the people that are her bridesmaids. No one from her office is in that wedding. And I was like, that's the
Re
first time I've ever seen a show do that. Like,
It's
usually it's like,
refreshing.
yeah, like, she has other friends. That's nice.
Yeah. I feel like that's a fair criticism that we can bring up because, yeah, I mean, it's almost like they make these women out to be having so much of a void in their life that they need this man, this lead man
Yeah.
in their life.
Yeah,
To
my life is super male-centric because I do something that's traditionally male-dominated.
All right, that wraps up the episode breakdown. Let's get to our watches. We don't have too many of this one, but there. Okay, so Beckett's hair watch. We talked about how I didn't really like her. I didn't really like her hair at the event.
I did like her curls, but I think you're right. It's the side swept bang that they're doing there with the curls that I think it makes it look a little awkward.
I don't know. I guess it was kind of vintage. It made her look older, I guess, than I would have liked. Like she's a hot young detective lady,
Yeah.
right? I don't know. I like her with her like when she showed up to Castle's book signing. I really liked her hair in that one.
Yeah, and also too, I always just wonder how she has time to get ready for anything, because you
Yeah.
have to, like, get off work, you have to get home, you have to shower and put make oh my gosh, like, how does she have time to get ready for anything?
Okay, pop culture references. So I mentioned earlier that one of Ryan's supposed words for perps was Skeksis, and those are the vulture-like creatures from the Dark Crystal, which is why it stuck out to me. I was like, why is Ryan bringing in the Dark Crystal?
Ryan is like, "These are fantasy bad guys."
He does also mention orcs, so
Yeah,
he's a
we
fantasy
know
guy apparently.
Ryan, we know what you are. We know what you are.
Mitchell mentions Glengarry Leeds, and I think this is a reference to the play slash movie Glengarry Glen Ross, which I've actually never seen. So
Yeah, me neither. And then I obviously the Batman thing and Cinderella,
and the
um
bibbidi bobbidi boo.
yeah. Like, I mean, it works, right? Because it's he's sending her the dress, like he's her fairy godfather, so to speak, and getting her ready for this event, and hoping she doesn't turn into a pumpkin before midnight. So he's just hoping she doesn't turn into a pumpkin before midnight. The Batman thing is pretty funny because, it's the whole vigilante, which I'm like, Castle, is that how you see yourself, bud? You see yourself as Batman? Um, the whole vigilante motif, and then you know, yeah. Anyway,
Okay, casket corner. There was quite a bit. There was their little jinx flirting thing in the beginning when they say the same thing and they're doing like double jinx, double reverse jinx, and I've never like played that, so I didn't get the reference to the I owe you a soda thing. So have
yeah,
you?
I think, yeah, I don't know, because you got to do something to get them to release you.
Yeah,
That's about all I remember. Because he
yeah.
jinxed Ryan, and which meant Ryan couldn't talk, and then there was another jinx on the floor, and then she reversed double jinxed him, so that meant he was he couldn't talk until she released him.
Okay, and there was also the firing range scene, which I liked. There's Beckett's dress, and what is the other one? There was one more. I think I forgot to write it down. Oh, it was their dancing. Because I mean,
Oh,
they're
yeah.
like doing business stuff, but I liked when they were dancing together because he's like doing all these like fancy moves. He like does like Beckett like bent over backwards kind of things.
Yeah. Like, he dips her, and then, like, she's like,
Yeah,
"Castle, I
yeah.
need you to help me back up here." Like, "Don't just leave me down." It's because he sees Powell come in, but also, like, little moments like that too, I think, remind us that these 2 are, like, social equals in many ways.
Hmm.
Because even though, Beckett's a detective, um, I mean, I think we've been hinting at this all episode, but let's just be clear, Beckett is still very much a girl's girl, girly
Yeah.
girl, whatever you wanna call it, right? Maybe that's sexist to say, but she is still very much a woman who, has appreciation for getting dressed up. She does her hair. I don't think that's controversial to say about Beckett. Um, but they again, going back to our previous conversation, sometimes I think when you're watching these shows and it's like, oh, woman has to be like a guy to fit in because she's a cop. But I don't think that's necessarily Beckett. And we also are getting these little reminders that Beckett is also of the same social class as Castle. I mean, she didn't grow up wealthy, comes from a similar background, like, because she's able to go out there and dance and, you know, essentially fit in at all of these events that he goes to. It's not like she's sticking out like a sore thumb.
Okay, bestseller list. Favorite scenes? I really liked the ending scene between Beckett and Joanne at the end. That was really good. I liked her, the way that she says it. She says, because when she says, "How do I get over it?" she says, "You don't, but one day you'll wake up and find that you don't mind carrying it around with you." And I also like the breakfast scene too. So
Yeah, I thought both of those were great. And for me, it was the conversation in their apartment, where Martha kindly reminds him, because Castle's like, I'm thinking about getting a safe room, because he's obviously come back a little jarred from seeing that lady stuffed in a safe. And, you know, Martha, I think, in her own Martha way, kindly reminds him that anyone can die at any time in New York City. And I forget exactly how she said it, but the tone, or what she was going for, right, is that those living their lives to the fullest aren't afraid of death, right? Like, so let's just go out there and live. Like, if you're living your life to the fullest, you don't fear death. To which Castle kind of, claps back with, like, how much have you had to drink? And then, as I mentioned, that scene where Castle tries to wipe the perp off the car with the windshield wiper is one of my favorite scenes in the whole show.
with the sound effect.
Yeah.
The lines, I liked when Castle and Martha he's like, "I don't know why you won't," she's like, "I don't know why you won't tell me where the party is." And he says, "Because you'll show up." And then I also like when, after they arrest the guy Paul at the event, he says, "Where was the badge?" And she says, "Don't ask."
Which I feel like that's such a fairly common question in these shows, as though, like, she couldn't have been carrying a clutch, or it was probably, like, on her body somewhere, like, not in
Yeah.
a yeah, but it's, like, such a recurring, like, haha, he he joke about, like, women when they wear dresses, like, "Where did you even put that?" So typical.
See, this would not be an issue if we had just like established at the scene where she's getting dressed that the dress has pockets.
Oh, true, 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 true.
See, we were talking about how it would pan out if a guy got you a dress. Pockets would matter.
Yeah. Or I suppose, like, you could be wearing a garter belt or something like that and just clip the
Mhm.
badge onto it,
Mhm.
because the badge, I think, clips, doesn't it?
I think so. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. There's plenty of places she could put it. So for me, I like the line. I thought this was Rachel, but I don't think we actually got this character's name. Settling Katie, when she's at the event there and she's talking to that woman and she's like, "Oh, looks like you're about to land a white whale." And she tells her to settle in because I guess all these women have tried it with Castle and he's just not into it. And so I like that little line, because she actually calls her Katie,
Mm.
which was funny to me. But I don't think Beckett cared. She just kind of
Yeah.
took it. Right? Because and that's been a motif all episode, right? With people calling him Ricky, and he's just like, whatever. And he doesn't seem to mind it, but there's like this person I know in real life where if you call him by a common nickname that is associated with his first name, he will not get upset about it. He will not clap back at you about it. He will accept it with grace. However, that is how you know how well you know him in terms of the fact that he doesn't like that and that he prefers full name.
Oh.
So yeah, I like that part. And then I also like the part where Joanne and Beckett are talking early in the episode, and she basically tells her not to, don't press conference me or don't PR me, particularly her disgust at like our hearts go out. And, she starts to question what that means because I don't know, to me, that feels very timeless, especially given, sort of how things like our hearts go out, which I think at this point has been replaced by thoughts and
Thoughts and
prayers.
prayers, yeah.
Yeah, our thoughts and prayers go out to. And, whenever you hear that, it's like, what exactly does that mean? It doesn't entail justice or a solution. It quite literally is just like an empty platitude, right? Like something that's not, it's saying something without saying nothing. And then I like, that it's just so personal to Beckett's character as well, because on one hand, as a cop who investigates homicides, she's called to do that so often, but she also knows what it's like to be in Joanne's shoes,
Mhm.
and to know that, like, these empty things don't mean anything, and that someone who's newly experiencing something that she's been living with for years is calling her out on that. So I liked that. Again, not the exact quote. I mean, "Our hearts go out" was the exact quote, but there's a little bit more there. But I like
Mhm.
that questioning.
All right, we're gonna take a quick break, and we'll come back with a new Beckett's interrogation.
Can hardly wait.
All right, we're back with a new Beckett's interrogation, and I feel like this one's kinda hard this week. The way this works is I'm gonna ask 5 questions about the episode we just discussed, and you'll have 5 seconds to come up with an answer.
All right, lay
Oh,
'em on me.
and I have a bonus question too, so alright, question 1. In their little fencing role play, who was Alexis role playing as?
They weren't doing Princess Brides, were they?
No.
Mm-mm. Yeah, I don't know.
Robin Hood.
Oh. Mhm.
Question 2. What is Ryan allergic to?
Feathers. The
They
feathers,
the
'cause
feathers, but they specifically say goose down,
oh, okay,
but I'll give you feathers.
okay.
Okay, question 3. Where is the charity event?
So it's hosted by the American Dance Theater at the Waldorf.
Yes, very good. So is that the Waldorf Astoria?
I think so.
Okay. I know that hotel by name because of Coming to America. You know what I'm
We'll be
talking about, right?
Yeah, we'll be staying at the Waldorf Astoria.
Ah, that was a favorite movie of mine when I was a kid.
Yeah, bro said, "Take me to Queens," and I understand. I understand. Yeah, I got it.
Okay, question 4. What character did Castle base on Powell?
Not Derek Storm. It was someone in the book. Mm, I don't know. I know it's in the book Storm Season.
Yeah, his name was Bentley Silver.
Bentley Silver. That's kind of
Which
that's
is
kind of
which is
funny.
yeah,
Yeah,
it's such a made up thief name. Yeah.
Bentley Silver.
Question 5. What is the name of the woman who has been telling Anne bad things about Castle?
Cheney.
Oh, very good. Is that supposed to be her first name?
I think so. But remember, these are wealthy socialites.
Okay.
They're not like us.
Okay. So when Castle's boasting about a book review he got, what outlet wrote the review?
The New York Review of Books.
Oh, you got it. Very good. Is that a real
I don't
place?
think
Or
so.
is it okay?
I don't think it's real.
Very good. I'm impressed.
Can I hear the math on my correct answers for the week,
Okay.
please?
Okay. 1, 2, 3, 4 out of 6. Good stuff.
I am progressing on this journey of the interrogation.
Very good. Very good. Okay. Any last thoughts?
No, overall, like I've said, throughout the episode, I really enjoyed this exploration of Beckett and Castle's relationship, and also Beckett's interfacing with this young woman who has now been placed in a similar position that she's been living in.
It's a good episode. Okay, if you're enjoying Rom-Com Detectives, we hope you'll consider taking a minute to leave us a rating or review on Apple Podcasts or Spotify. For our question of the week, leave us a comment on Spotify, YouTube, or Reddit, and tell us where Beckett's badge was.
I vote it was in a garter belt.
I think she probably just had it stuffed in a pocket that was like
Or in
that
her bra, maybe.
that she discovered and maybe Castle didn't know about. If you'd like to join additional conversations about Castle, you can visit the Castle subreddit at reddit.com/r/CastleTV. To contact me and Neoshia, email us at host@romcomdetectives.com. You can follow us on Instagram, Threads, or Blue Sky at romcomdetectives, or leave us a voicemail or text message at 1-650-733-XOXO or 9696. This episode of Rom-Com Detectives was recorded on November 9, 2025. Rom-Com Detectives Castle Unit is co-hosted by Krista Watanabe and Neoshia Roemer and is produced by Pico's House. Thanks for listening, everyone. We'll catch you guys next time for our breakdown of episode 8, Ghosts. Bye.
Bye, everyone.